Hey guys, and welcome back. You join us back here on Broken Sword. We are standing outside the Hotel Ubu. We have already spoken to these guys in the last episode, so let's head on in. We have a wonderful Hotel Ubu. So let's start talking to people, shall we?
Hi there, ma'am.
Well, hello. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a man.
You disappoint me, my dear. For one foolish moment I thought... But never mind. Aren't you going to tell me your name?
George Stobart, ma'am.
How sweet! I once had a stable boy called George. I am Lady Piermont. The common reaction is to kneel and stutter, but it's not obligatory.
A real lady? I mean, you're an honest-to-God aristocrat?
Oh, I don't know about that. Few of my ancestors are honest, not even to God. I can trace my family back to the Normans, but don't let that intimidate you, George. Beneath that impressive pedigree, I'm just flesh and blood. The blood may be blue, but the flesh is the plump beef of old England, so to speak. You appear distracted, George. Is there any way I can help you?
So I wonder if she is, or the Mrs. Piermont we meet in Beneath a Still Sky, if she is in any way related to this Mrs. Piermont, or Ms. Piermont now that her... Well, you'll find out.
Can you think of any use for this tool, ma'am?
Oh, I can think of someone I'd like to use it on.
Ooh.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
My God, it's him! That's Merlin!
She represented everything I loved about the English. The lady was totally deranged. Merlin? You mean King Arthur's wizard?
Good heavens, no! Monsieur Merlin is a fellow guest.
And also, King Arthur's wizard has was supposedly had a really long beard.
Do you know what this is?
At a guess, I'd say it was a clown's nose.
That's right. It was worn as a disguise by a vicious killer.
Ah, Mr. Merlin, perchance.
That's him. Does this tissue mean anything to you?
I'm no shrinking violet, but that object makes me feel quite queasy.
I just couldn't bring myself to use the buzzer on this dear lady.
Oh, that would have been so funny. Okay.
Did you know there's a gangster out front?
What makes you think he's a gangster?
The Italian suit and the bulge in his pocket?
I know plenty of men with Italian suits and bulges in their pockets. That doesn't necessarily make them gangsters.
The man you know as Merlin is a fake.
What do you mean, sweetie?
He's a murderer. He also uses the name Khan.
I am shocked, Miss Stobart. Shaken. I took him to be a gentleman, a man of honour. Do you know, I'd rather like to assist you in stitching him up.
When did you last see Merlin?
It was no more than an hour ago. He came downstairs and spoke to that clerk chappie. Something passed hands. I couldn't see what exactly.
A briefcase?
No, smaller than that. A bundle of papers, perhaps. The clerk put it in the hotel safe and Merlin went out.
Are you sure you saw Merlin putting documents in the safe?
Yes, darling, positive.
I wonder what they were.
Obviously something of great importance.
Yeah.
See why they're in the hotel
I'd sure like
safe.
to get my hands on whatever it is. I'll bet they had something to do with Plantar's briefcase. Has Merlin returned to the hotel?
No, he hasn't. Are you going to search his room?
Maybe.
If I could get in there, I would. Are you here in Paris on vacation?
No, darling, I'm on holiday. I needed to get away after Algy's funeral.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one.
I'm not, he was my husband.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband's death.
You wouldn't be if you knew him, my dear. It gave me the opportunity to take a well-deserved holiday. Daphne suggested a change of scenery. Paris, she said. A wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest.
What inquest?
Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking of cutting my holiday short, packing my bags and heading back to Hemel Hempstead. That was until last night.
What happened to you last night?
I was stricken, Mr. Stobart. Cupid's arrow has cleft my bosom.
They couldn't really miss.
It was just as I'd always imagined it should be. The intimacy of candlelight, romantic music tinkling across the room, and then a stranger's glance, those brooding eyes, that suave manner, those tight trousers. He was the man I'd been waiting for all my life.
I'm glad he finally turned up after all these years.
Ah, but it wasn't to be. He was merely toying with my affections.
Oh, no.
And if I ever catch up with him, he's dead.
Who was the guy who led you on?
His name is Merlin.
Aha. There's the connection. Go and see who this dude is. Well, we know who this dude is. Saw him in the paper.
Excuse me, didn't I see your picture in the news? You're that Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state.
Yes, that is me, in person.
I don't want to worry you, but have you had any threats on your life? You know, mysterious phone calls, letters made up of headlines cut from the newspaper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Have you any idea what this tool might be used for?
I cannot guess.
Would it mean anything if I told you it was for lifting drain covers?
Such technology fills me with wonder.
Do you recognize this man? He calls himself Khan.
Yes, I know this man. Why do you carry his photograph?
I'm a private detective. What does this clown's nose suggest to you?
In my country, we have no use for clowns.
I'm glad to hear it.
They were dealt with most severely in the last cultural cleansing.
What about the mimes? Did you get them too?
All gone. Our streets are mime-free.
Sounds like heaven. Does this goo-smeared tissue mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
May I shake you by the hand?
I do not shake the hands of imperialist dogs.
Now, that's a real bad attitude problem you've got there.
Okay, so we're going to ask about Plantard Khan and the clown.
Do you know a guy called Plantow?
I don't know anybody in Paris.
Oh, well, this guy's dead anyhow.
Why do you ask me about dead men? I have seen enough of death to last me a lifetime.
I'm, sure you have. Have you seen a clown?
I beg your pardon?
The clown. A guy in funny pants. Have you seen him?
My pants are from England. Marks and Spencer. They are a pleasure and a comfort to wear, with much support.
I'm real glad to hear that. You know, it's good to know you Nobel Prize winners are human too.
In my country, the people make do with string and egg cartoons.
For pants?
For everything. Oppression is the mother of ingenuity.
So when I first heard that, I thought he was speaking about England, but I've got a really funny feeling he's Russian. I still don't ever remember like hearing on the news or hearing in history class how the Russians just used egg things, string and stuff like that. So, but I know there was an oppression at one point. Maybe that is like sort of how they got through, just by using the basics. I don't know. So ask about Khan now.
What's your interest in Khan?
He is an enemy of my people.
You know he's a killer.
Of course, amongst other things.
Would you help me investigate Khan?
That is not possible. My instructions are to observe. I cannot jeopardize my position as an honored guest of this country's government.
So is he like a Russian
Thanks
spy?
for your help.
Goodbye.
Okay, so we're gonna head over here. We're gonna go up first. And we're gonna check the doors.
The door was locked. If the tailor's description was correct, this was the killer's room. The sign on the door read 22. The door was locked.
Okay, so both doors are locked. Go speak to this dude.
There was no one registered under the name of Khan. But the name in the book for room 22 was Merlin.
Okay, we're going to try and get the keys.
Excusez-moi, monsieur.
What?
You were trying to steal that key, no?
No way.
Okay, now we're going to talk to the...
I want some information.
concierge.
Who are you? The police?
I'm conducting a private investigation.
Ah, I know only too well what you mean. That is one of the drawbacks of the catering business. When people book into an hotel, they leave their morals at home, no?
Okay.
What do you make of this tool?
Stunning, monsieur. I bet you handle it like a professional.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, monsieur. That man is one of our guests.
What name?
I cannot tell you that.
It's Merlin, isn't it? Alias Khan, the clown.
I told you, I cannot tell you that.
But we've had confirmation he does stay in the hotel.
Do you recognize this red nose?
No, monsieur.
What do you make of this tissue?
Do you wish me to dispose of it for you, monsieur?
I love this.
Hey, no! It could be useful. I'm holding on to this.
As you wish, monsieur. Perhaps you would like a little plastic baggie to keep it in?
Nah, it's
That
fine the
last
way it
bit
is.
of the plastic baggie, it just makes me smile.
Hey, shake my hand.
I'd rather not, monsieur. I'm still sore from the shock administered by one of the guests. He was secretly concealing an electrical device in the palm of his hand. Practical jokes are so puerile, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, sure.
No, I like practical jokes. Okay, so let's... we'll ask about these two items last. So let's...
I'm looking for a man who dresses like a clown.
This is a highly respectable hotel, monsieur. There are no clowns here.
If you say so. Do you know a man named Plantar?
No, monsieur.
And then
Do
Khan.
you have a guest by the name of Khan?
No, monsieur. Perhaps you would care to check the register.
I already did.
Alors, you know I am telling the truth. May Saint Armand strike me down if I lie.
Okay.
The man who calls himself Khan has a scar on his right cheek.
Vraiment? I tell you, I do not know a man named Khan.
Maybe not, but I noticed a change in his expression when I mentioned the scar.
Okay, so say...
I'd like to retrieve something from your safe.
Ah, oui, monsieur. May I see some form of identification?
Like what?
A driving license, perhaps?
I don't drive.
Your passport?
I don't have it with me. I could show you my operation scar.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I must have some form of unique ID.
You won't find a more unique ID than my scar.
I'm sorry. I must insist on a more traditional identification.
Rats.
Where's his passport?
About the key hanging on the hook over there.
Oui, monsieur.
Which room is it for?
Number 21.
Is that room taken?
No. The guests checked out this morning.
I'd like to check into room 21.
That is not possible.
How come? You said it was vacant.
It is reserved for another guest.
Rats.
No, monsieur. Dutch.
I don't know why I find that funny, by the way. I know it's a cultural joke. So, basically what you need to do is go see
Hi, ma'am.
Ms
Hello,
Piermont
George.
again.
What can I do for you now?
Would you distract the clerk while I borrow a key?
Are you asking me to aid you in a criminal act, darling?
Oh, no. It's the key to an empty room.
And why, may I ask, do you wish to gain access to an empty room? Do you plan to squat?
No, ma'am.
Scouts honor?
I was never in the Boy Scouts, ma'am.
Oh, you should have been. What were your parents thinking of? It's a fine way for a boy to get licked into shape. Now tell me, why do you want to get into that room?
It's next to the room the killer is using.
Ah, so you plan to eavesdrop on Merlin?
I was hoping there might be a connecting door.
Well, how can I refuse? I shouldn't think my feminine charms would be much use in this case, but a good dose of English arrogance might do the trick.
Let's go, Lady Piermont.
I say! You there? Flunky!
Oui, madame.
Listen carefully. You do understand English, don't you?
But of course, madame.
Good. I wish to deposit some jewellery for safekeeping.
I understand.
Are you quite certain?
Oh, bien sûr, madame.
I love the modelling and the way they walk.
Over to you, my dear.
Thank you. And we're going up. Okay, so we're going to use the key to get in here.
Maybe it wasn't the right room, but this was the right key.
Okay, so look.
There was nothing in the wardrobe apart from a vague, lingering smell of camphor.
I smelled camphor before. I'm sure it smells quite nice. And we'll go check this sideboard.
The cabinet was empty, but it smelt of onions. No kidding, it really did.
Okay, so now we're going to open the window. And, yep, you guessed it. We're going to go out the window. As you can see, Monsieur Merlin, or Khan, or whatever he calls himself, has left his window open. So we're going to creep in. So let's ransack his room. We're going to check
The
his
assassin
side.
had been too smart to leave incriminating evidence beside his bed.
That's his sideboard. Let's check under his bed then. You can see the briefcase there. He might have hidden something under his pillows or his sheets.
The bed was freshly made, and the crisp white sheets told me nothing about the killer's habits.
Okay.
It was the battered leather briefcase I'd seen Plantar carrying just before he died. I searched the interior of the briefcase, but as I'd half expected, it was empty.
So, as I said, I recorded this episode as well, probably a couple of times, so I do know what we've got to do. But what I don't know is if I check this cupboard, for example, and it's open, and then I check the door, Khan will come, but we can sneak into the cupboard. So I don't know if you leave it closed, Khan catches you. So I'm going to science this. So I'm going to save right here. Game saved. Okay, so we're going to shut the door. And we're going to open this door.
It was Khan. I had the kind of feeling in my stomach that would usually send me running to the bathroom.
Oh no, it doesn't. I thought maybe he would catch me because I had to take the extra time
I was sure I was dead.
to open the door.
But he grabbed his pants quickly and didn't even see me. I didn't usually spy on men getting changed. But this guy was a killer, and I didn't want any surprises. He left his checkered pants on the bed.
Guess what? We're going to rummage through them. And so let's see, is there anything in
I
that
had that kind
pocket?
of feeling you only get from searching still warm pants. The pocket was empty. There was nothing in the pocket. A strip along the side seam of the pants had been unpicked, then sewn back up with strong thread and a special stitch.
Okay, so we want to turn them over.
I flipped the pants over. I found an ordinary matchbook. No matches, no clues. But as I pulled it from the pocket, a strong thread came with it. A thread with a metal tag on the end.
Dun dun dun.
I pulled on the metal tag and the thread came out of the pants. It was like pulling out a ripcord. I found nothing in the pocket.
Now we're going to turn them back.
I turned the pants over again.
As you can see, that's now open.
I searched the pocket gingerly and found a pass card. It read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation.
There we are. Okay, so we can come out of Merlin's room now. We can go back downstairs. What we do want to do, just head outside, just to initiate.
Just a minute, monsieur.
What's your problem?
No problem, if you cooperate.
What do you want?
Just a routine security check. Nothing to worry yourself about.
Oh, well, all right.
Search him, Flap.
You bet.
Hey, knock it off. Get off, you big ape.
Nothing, Guido. Zilch.
Our apologies, monsieur.
What? I had to report you to the authorities.
Round here, we are the authorities.
You want I should break his arms?
No. Let him go, Flap.
Get lost, creep.
Oh, yeah? And what if I don't? What if I call the cops?
First, I break your arms at the elbows and wrists. Then, when you recover consciousness, I break your fingers.
There's just one flaw in your plans, Ape Man.
What's that?
It's broad daylight. I don't think even you would assault me on a busy street. Of course, this tranquil square at the end of a cul-de-sac. This isolated corner of Paris that hasn't seen a street sweeper's brush since VE Day. This would be just about perfect for a mugging. Pardon me, I'm about to get very lost. Hey, Shorty, I didn't think much of your trick, little man. I don't know what you're looking for, but you picked on the wrong guy. Maybe you'll spread the word around the sewers. George Stobart is on the case. That's Stobart. 2 B's and 2 T's. It sounded impressive to me, but the weasel didn't seem to share my enthusiasm. Still, I figured he'd think twice before gunning me down in the street in cold blood.
I do not like your tone.
Oh, yeah? And what are you going to do about it?
If you do not go away, I will gun you down in cold blood, right here in the street, without thinking twice about it.
Okay, so they were obviously looking for something, so we're going to talk to Mrs. Piermont.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Tell her
That
about
gangster
the
I
fuss.
told you about? He went through my pockets just now.
Good heavens! One never knows what to expect in foreign parts. Thank you for the warning, young man. I shall hide my credit cards in my underwear.
By the way, I think all this is filler. I don't think this is essential to the story, so if you're just planning on just doing the story just to get to the end, don't, as I said, you don't need to do all this.
This is the key to room 21.
That's next
This
to the
looks a
room
bit
taken
silly.
by
You
that
have to do
rotten
the main
Merlin,
key
isn't
part.
it?
Yes, and it's vacant.
Really? How convenient.
Maybe it was my imagination, but I had an uncomfortable feeling about this situation. Yeah. I found this matchbook in Merlin's bedroom.
It came from the Club Alamut. It might be useful to find out if that club is in Paris, George.
I found this pass in Merlin's room.
So, that deceitful little man is passing himself off as an electrician, is he?
Uh-huh. This guy probably has a million faces.
Okay. We'll talk to this guy again, just see if there's anything new.
Hello again. Do you recognize this key?
No, I do not.
Does the name on this matchbook mean anything to you?
Indeed it does, for Alamut was the home of the old man of the mountains. You do not know him?
No, I don't. Do you recognize this card?
No, I do not.
Thanks for your help.
Okay, so we'll go
Goodbye.
back and talk to the concierge again. Hopefully he's not
What
moving
now,
away.
monsieur?
I've just been manhandled by a gorilla.
Yes? I do not see any signs of a gorilla.
No, not a real gorilla. It was a guy who looked like a gorilla. It happened right out front of this building.
Let me get this quite clear. Are you complaining or bragging?
I want to know what you're going to do about it. The scrawny one has a gun.
I suggest you contact the police.
Can't you do anything about them?
What goes on in the streets of Paris is hardly my responsibility.
Okay.
Aren't you concerned that your guests are being intimidated by gangsters?
No one else has complained, monsieur. Did they steal anything from you?
Well, no. They didn't find what they were looking for.
What was that?
I don't know. I don't think they did either. Do you recognize this key?
That is the property of the Hotel Ubu.
Correct.
May I ask how it found its way from the little hook to your pocket?
Would you believe it was put there by a poltergeist?
No,
Nice
monsieur.
poltergeist, apparently.
The hotel is regularly serviced by an exorcist. If we had a ghost, Father Fécond would have flushed it out.
I suppose you want the key back.
Not especiellement. The room is vacant. Since you are so determined to conduct your little investigation, I won't stop you.
Oh, nice.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
Non, monsieur.
Does this pass mean anything to you?
That is Monsieur Merlin's property.
That's right. Merlin the murderer. I want to see what he's left in your safe.
Impossible. I cannot betray his confidence, no matter what you say he's done.
You're making a big mistake.
Maybe. I can live with that. A murderer? Are you sure?
Positive.
Okay, so. Yeah, you guessed it, guys. We're going to call on the powers that are Mrs. Piermont once again.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
I showed the pass to the clerk, hoping he'd give me Merlin's papers, but he wouldn't buy it. He's too scared.
I'll give him something to be scared of. Follow me, George.
Go on, Mrs. Piermont. Yes, yes, yes. You give him some of that good old English, rah.
Did you place a package from Merlin in the hotel safe?
I did, madame.
And did my friend here show you Merlin's identification?
Indeed he did, but
What's the problem?
he isn't Merlin.
A mere academic detail. Give him the package.
But that is against the law.
I happen to be a justice of the peace, you silly man. I am the law. If he tries anything, shoot him, George.
My pleasure, Lady Piermont.
One moment, please.
You know, I haven't enjoyed myself this much since Greenham Common.
I don't know what I would have done without you, Lady Piermont.
Voilà, monsieur. Le manuscrit de Monsieur Merlin.
Thanks.
How satisfying. An Anglo-American alliance that actually worked.
The clerk had given me a tightly rolled sheet of parchment. I decided not to unroll it until I was safely back in Nico's apartment.
Now, I'm sure if I hadn't have gone out first, that by doing this, actually saying I'm going to save it again. What's the bet I do it this time? It doesn't work. So if I hadn't have gone out first and have them pat me down, I think if I click
Couldn't leave
that,
the hotel with the manuscript. It was probably what those thugs were looking for.
then I don't think that would have prompted. So they would have just allowed me to go outside, and they would have found the manuscript, and I think you get killed. So by doing it before you get the manuscript out of the safe, you get the prompt, which means that now you, or we, are going to head up here. And we're going to climb out the window again, because why not? We love a bit of danger. Okay, so we're going to get the manuscript.
I knew this was no way to treat an ancient manuscript, but I couldn't let it fall into the hands of the goons waiting outside.
And hope that it doesn't shatter to a million pieces and when it hits the floor. Right, I'm going to go back in now. And we're going to leave. And we're going to go back outside. And go through all the same rigmarole again.
Hold it right there. Search him again, Flap.
Nothing, Guido.
Okay. Let him go.
Okay, I didn't talk to him for a second time last time. He's got nothing to say, but you can like re-talk about all of that.
See you later.
Not if you see me first.
So I won't do that. I think I'm just going to go get the manuscript. I don't think there's anything they sort of tell you.
If the
to
manuscript was what Clapp and Guido were after, they were going to be disappointed. I couldn't wait to get back to Nico's apartment and check it out. Hi, how are you?
Oh, hi. Come in, George.
Okay, so let's talk.
What are you doing to help trace the killer clown?
Research, George.
Yeah? You have a copy of the clown's yearbook?
I have a telephone and lots of contacts.
Oh, well, did you find anything useful?
Not yet. I'm employing my first and most useful weapon.
What's that?
Patience.
Oh, I've heard of that. Isn't it a substitute for decisive thinking?
Why do I get?
Do you have a boyfriend?
Not anymore. There was someone. A guy in my final year, but it didn't work out. Neither did my degree.
I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Tell me more about your family.
When I was a little girl, I used to spend the winter with my grandfather and grandma. They were the best times, warm and safe in their tiny cottage. My grandfather rolled cigarettes while grandma made hot chocolate and cakes. One day, he stopped his scrolling. He put the lid back on his tobacco jar and took me in his arms. I laughed and wriggled, but he hushed me to be silent. With his unshaven chin all scratchy in my ear, he told me his secret.
What did he say?
He said, I don't smoke, but she likes to think I do.
What a weird old man.
Don't call my grandfather weird. He was the nicest guy ever. I wish I was back in that cottage instead of this crummy apartment in this noisy city.
I think it's really quite sweet that he did that for his wife. Okay, let's go through everything again.
This is the tool I used to get into the sewers.
Fascinating, George.
How come you enlarged this photograph of me?
Because I noticed the guy behind you, of course.
No way. No.
Oh, sure.
Hey, Nico, shake hands with me.
No chance, Buster.
I found this matchbook in the killer's hotel room. It's from the Club Alamut.
Never heard of it. Is there anything written inside it?
No, what were you expecting?
If this was a movie, there'd be a clue, a name or an address.
That would be easy.
That's no use. There aren't even any matches in it.
Oh well, I'll keep it as a souvenir. I found this in the killer's room.
What is it, a credit card?
ID, Thomas Merlin, of the Gruber Electronics Corporation.
Never heard of him or the company.
You're just not going to believe what I found.
It's not another part of the clown's costume, is it?
It's a medieval manuscript. Khan left it in the safe at the U-boot.
It's incredible. Is this what he took from Plantark?
It could be, which means it's worth enough to kill for.
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
Oh yeah, maybe they couldn't afford one each. What of it?
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar? Their official seal was an image of two knights sharing a horse. Whatever this manuscript means, it's connected with the Templars.
How come you know about these knights?
I learned about them while writing an article on the Crusades. This guy, named Hughes de Payen, arrived one day at the court of King of Jerusalem. He offered to protect the Christian pilgrims from the displaced Muslim armies. The king would be able to guarantee safe transit to Christians in the Holy Land. Safer journeys meant more pilgrims, and pilgrims meant trade and wealth. The Templars proved invaluable to the king as a mercenary army. It was said that they never asked how many the enemy numbered, just where they were. And as the years went by, the Templars grew in wealth and numbers. They were so rich, even kings came to them for loans. But at the height of their power, they fell foul of the King of France. He rounded them up and turned them over to the Inquisition. Thousands of Templars were subject to torture and confessed to heresy. Of course, at the hands of the Inquisition,
There wasn't much they wouldn't confess to. The last Grand Master Jacques de Molay was burned alive.
Jeez. So the treasure is hidden, waiting to be discovered?
If there ever was a treasure, it's been lost for 600 years. Anyway, we're supposed to be investigating a serial killer, not a medieval treasure trove.
But maybe that's what the clown and his accomplices are after. Maybe this manuscript is the key.
You'd better leave it here for safekeeping.
Okay, we'll check the manuscript.
Let's take another look at the manuscript.
Okay.
A knight with a crystal ball. Now, there's something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Yes, but it's written in Latin. Per disciplinam mea lux videbis.
By my teachings, you will see the light.
You speak Latin? Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again.
Okay.
There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the Minotaur, but he was only half bull.
I don't think I'd like to be half a bull, even if it was the bottom half.
What's that object between them?
It looks like a gem on top of a tripod.
Okay, and this one?
There's a guy working on a loom. He's weaving a carpet or a tapestry.
Or a duvet cover? It's a clue to a place, I reckon. Somewhere famed for weaving and ships.
Where folk live in barrels?
It beats copper boxes.
There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces.
She reminds me of the wicked queen in Snow White.
She was the one who said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall," wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid. Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me in the least.
Like I said, I was only a kid. I didn't like the crocodile in Peter Pan either.
Okay, I don't see the faces in there at all. I just see legs, so I'm not really too sure what they're going on about.
Look there, 2 guys on the same horse. Let's face it, we need help, George. Someone who knows about these things.
Who do you suggest? Indiana Jones?
I know a guy who specializes in medieval studies. His name is Lobino.
Huh. Some stuffy old fossil who gets horny over ancient relics, I suppose.
George!
Horrid. Andre isn't the stereotypical professor you have in mind.
Where can I find this Lobino guy?
At the Krone Museum. I'll give you the address.
Okay.
I have to go.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lobino at the Krone Museum.
Okay, guys, so this is going to be the end of the episode. So we have done quite a lot in this episode. We went through the whole of the Hotel Ubu. We spoke to everybody. We managed to get help from Mrs Piermont in regards to getting the spare key and also getting the contents out the safe. And we had to drop it out of the hotel to get it out of the hotel. Otherwise, we were probably going to be murdered by the 2 gangster thugs outside the hotel. We've brought it back to Nico, and Nico has told us of a professor who specialises in medieval studies and should be able to help us in translating the manuscript, as it looks like it's something to do for the Knight Templars. So that is the rundown. We hope you are all okay in this time, the time of the world. You know how it is, the pandemic going on and everything else. We hope that everything's getting back to normal for you. We hope that you're all okay and you're all doing well. If you like the video, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you want to see more of Broken Sword or any of the other stuff that we're doing on the channel, please make sure that you hit the bell as well, because you'll be notified then of when our videos will be uploaded. I was going to say go live, but be uploaded. You'll also be notified if we go live. We're umming and ahhing about that at the moment. Also give us a like and a comment. That would be great. So, yep, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.